LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network. LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the LegacyMaker Sports News Update. I'm your man, Darrell Owens. We're here tonight to talk a little NBA as we're this close to the NBA playoffs. And I know I got somebody with me today who's itching inside for the NBA playoffs to start. He is the host of the Ballin podcast here on the LegacyMaker Sports Network. And on top of that, he is our resident NBA expert, Mr. Tyrone Montgomery Jr. How you doing, Ty?
I'm well, Dio, for Monday. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm here, man. Like you said, NBA playoffs, it's right there. It's right there on the cusp. We're getting excited about it. NHL playoffs started on Saturday. We got this going now. Football, sports is back, baby. We getting back in the groove.
Yeah, it's starting to feel a little normal again, finally, but I'm just excited, Dio. The playoffs are here, and I'm just ready to see what happens in this postseason.
Exactly. So we got a couple things we're going to break out today and talk to you all about. Of course, we're going to break down that playoff situation. We got the play-in games. That's going to happen here starting tomorrow. So I'm excited about it. I know Ty's excited about it. But before we get into all that, let's talk a little bit about the Boston Celtics. Now, this Boston Celtics team has struggled this year. We have not seen the Boston Celtics team that we thought we were going to see this year. Ty, what are your thoughts on the Boston Celtics?
Well, the Boston Celtics, it was a tough start to the season. They were without Kemba Walker. He missed about a month of the first season with the knee injury. He was still recovering from last season. And Tatum was in and out of the lineup as well. He had COVID. And a key piece of this team is Marcus Smart. He's pretty much the defensive stopper of this team who gives them that edge. And he missed a ton of games this year, too, due to injury. And now they're without Jaylen Brown, who's pretty much the heart and soul of this team. So they were just stuck with different trials all season long. But I think one thing that goes unnoticed and not really talked about is the loss of Gordon Hayward. Injury prone, yes, he is, but he was a key part to what this Boston Celtics team was. He's a ball handler and a shot creator of his own, and he can create offense for the whole entire team. And we've seen what he was able to do with the Charlotte Hornets this season. So it's just been a tough season for this Boston Celtics team.
Well, it's kind of weird. This Boston team, obviously has been the last couple of years led by Brad Stevens, one of the top teams in the East. They're always in the fix. And it just seems like this year that it just hasn't clicked. You've heard people call for, Brad Stevens' head, say he needs to be gone. Do you agree with that sentiment? Does Brad Stevens really need to be gone? Or is it just they just got to rework the kinks a little?
I don't think they should do anything with Brad Stevens. I think he's a proven head coach. I think he's a one that he knows how to win basketball games. But if he doesn't have the key pieces in place that are available to play to win these basketball games, you're going to struggle this season. And I think what he was able to do with Tatum this season, Tatum elevated his game to a totally different level. And we've seen different aspects of Tatum's game now. And I don't think Stevens should be out as head coach for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, for me, I don't want to see it just yet because he's had so much success there. Yet, heck, they're still in the playoffs. Yes, well, at least they got a chance to get into the main stage there. And so, in my opinion, you can't just kick him out, not that quick. I think he critical there. He just really good job with this organization over the last, 10, 15 years. He's been great there. Even when they had those down spirals where everybody thought this is over for them. They traded all those pieces and got all those picks and rebuild and even were winning before they were expected to win. So,
yeah, he's the guy. I think once everyone's healthy and he's still having those issues, then you can revisit that case. But for now, just let it play out. And, it was a COVID season, so, things like this was expected to happen.
Exactly. You would think some coaches would get a little bit of a bye because of that. Some haven't gotten so lucky in other sports, but maybe the Celtics will hold on to Brad just a little bit longer. Next, we're going to talk about the New York Knicks. Man, I don't think nobody saw the New York Knicks playing this well this year. But Ty, give me your thoughts on this team, man. And are they a legit contender?
I don't think they're a legit contender just yet, Darrell, but they are definitely on the right track. I think it's all about culture. They had a change with management this last season, actually leading into this season. So it was a fresh start for them. They hired Tom Thibodeau. And I think the key piece for this team that has happened is the addition of Derrick Rose. I think he's made Julius Randle a player that could be considered an MVP conversations and all-star this season. He's elevated his game. And not to mention R.J. Barrett has been there playing good basketball, and the bench has stepped up as well for this New York Knicks team.
Yeah, I mean, watching it overall, Randall from the beginning of the season to now, I'm not going to lie to you. I was one of those people like, all right, can he do it all season? No, he's got the talent. But from game one on to now, he has proven that he is an MVP caliber player. And for me, I'll be honest with you, he's my MVP. Because, yes, the Jokic's and the Embiid's, look where this New York Knicks team was. Look where they were, I should say. And look what he has helped, do the numbers he's put up. He made the All-Star team this year. And, without him, they're at the bottom. They're like 12th. they're like 12th. They're not even in the play-in conversation. They got good pieces, but I like what I've seen from Randall.
Randall's been amazing, man. And I think the Lakers, they when you can get Anthony Davis, I understand. I get it. It's time to win now. But the Lakers knew what they had in Randall. He's a baller, man, and he works hard. He dropped a lot of weight. And, he does it all, as we can see. He's getting triple-doubles. He's shooting a three a lot better now, and he's rebounding. He's defending. He's hustling, playing hard. I was watching one game. I forget who they was playing against. I think it was on ESPN, and he was at the free throw line. He shot his free throw, and before the ball even went into the rim or even touched the rim, he was hustling back down to get back on.
You gotta love it, man. I like this Knicks team. It does scream a lot of that early 2000 teens Chicago Bulls team with that toughness. Derrick Rose is in the mix. Yep. I don't know if you want to say Randall's playing the Joakim Noah part, but he's playing it really, really, really well. But I like how tough this team is. But the addition of Derrick Rose midseason was probably, like you said, one of the biggest things that could happen to this team. And then look at them now. They're thriving. They're the 4 seed in the East. It's a beautiful thing to see.
It is. And basketball is just so much better with the Knicks playing good basketball within the playoffs. What more can we ask for, Dio?
You can't ask for more. I'm not gonna lie to you, as a Heat fan. I said to myself, man, if they can we see Heat, Knicks, bring a little bit of that old school rivalry back. Just throw UD in there and have him make somebody upset like he did against Dwight Howard. Why not? Let's get that energy going. As long as we don't have nobody dragging coaches like my man PJ Brown did the not Stan Van Gundy. What's brother Jeff Van Gundy back in the day? So we can't have that.
Exactly.
Oh man! Now talking to the playoffs. We've got the first 6 seeds set in this bad boy. I'm waiting to see how this thing's going to play out because we've got a play-in games to talk about, Ty. These play-in games in the West, you've got the 7-seeded Lakers, the 8-seeded Warriors, the 9-seeded Grizzlies, and the 10-seeded Spurs. In the East, you got 7-seeded Celtics, 8-seeded Wizards, the 9-seeded Pacers, and the 10-seeded Hornets. Now, looking at this, this setup, it's a bit different. Now, I know you can probably explain it a little bit better. I'm gonna let you explain it if you would like to, and just tell the people out there, like, how's this thing working? Because some people are like, man, I don't know what's going on right now.
And a lot of people don't even agree with this play. I'm one of those people. I'm not for it, but it is a little complicated. If you pull up that graphic again, it does explain it quite well. But it looks like it was just scrambled all over the place. I'm actually having a hard time myself trying to explain it. But it looks like the number 1 seeds and the number 2 seeds, they're the one that's awaiting their opponent for the first round of the playoffs. It looks like the Sixers out east, they'll probably play either the winner over here between the Hornets and the Pacers, or the loser of the Boston Celtics and Washington Wizards. And the same in the West, the Utah Jazz that end up playing either the winner of the Memphis Grizzlies or the San Antonio Spurs. Who would have known the Spurs would be involved in the mix? Or the Phoenix Suns will be playing either the loser of the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. So it explains it there, but
yeah, it's kind of weird. So the way that they were kind of like explaining it to me is that Lakers would take on, obviously the Lakers would take on the Warriors. Whoever wins that game gets the 7th seed right off the bat. The loser of that game takes on the winner of the 9 and 10th seed game. Whoever loses the 9 and 10th seed game, they're out. Yeah. And then the winner of so it's crazy. The loser of that first game and the winner of the 9 and 10, that they will battle for the 8th seed. And I said, huh? Now, I like the intrigue and stuff. I think they thought like, oh, look what happened last year when we did it in the bubble. Let's see how it works on a full season. I'm intrigued to see how it works. But I mean, for those teams like, the Hornets, who had a really good season up until LaMelo got hurt and then he came back, it would be nice to see if he can make a little run here and get them into the playoffs. I mean, that would be nice. But I mean, it's a wild card. But the Lakers could be out of this thing. 2 losses and the defending champs are out.
Yeah, that's the scary part. It's do or die. I think with this setup here, it's definitely going to raise those NBA ratings up, right? Everybody's going to be tuning in and watching. It's a critical game here. It's pretty much that. So, I mean, we're going to have folks at home glued to their TVs watching these playing games.
Exactly. I'm definitely going to keep, my eyes on the prize on that bad boy because, I mean, if you're the Jazz in this situation, you're the 1 seed, you're more likely going to have to deal with the Warriors or the Lakers in the first round. Like, I mean, well, yeah, you got to deal with one of them in the first round. It's going to be a tough out. But if you're one of those 1 through 6 teams, you're like, oh, I just made it in. I just got it in there. So I know the Heat are the 6th seed in the East. And as a Heat fan, I was like, whoa, boy, we got close. But that between that 4 to 6 in the East, it was a tight race anyway.
It was a tight race. And that just shows you the comparison between the East and the West right there, man. The East is definitely a weaker conference, but it was a tight race all season long.
So here it is, the sleepers. Which teams should we be watching out for on both sides of the bracket?
In the Eastern Conference, I'm going to have to say the Milwaukee Bucks. They've been a team under the radar all season long, and I think that's just the way Giannis wants it. That's just the way this whole entire Milwaukee Bucks team wants it. They've made an addition of Drew Holiday, who was supposed to be the second guy in Milwaukee, and kind of move Chris Middleton down to that third go-to guy. That takes a lot of pressure off of him, too. So Drew Holiday makes that Milwaukee team a lot deeper now just by him alone. And they still got Brook Lopez out there shooting threes all over the court, too. So Milwaukee's got a good squad. Watch out for them.
Why is Brook Lopez still shooting threes? I mean, Brook Lopez is like, I'm going to give him a shot no matter what.
He's like one of the biggest guys in the entire league. But, I mean, that jump shot is nice. I'm not even going to lie. He be making them.
Yeah, man, it'd be surprising me. I remember covering a Wizards-Bucks game a few years ago, and he was out there, and I'm like, man, he got to start shooting these threes. But he hit 2 of them. I'm like, I guess I shouldn't talk. I know I can't make the shot, but he was out there. He looked pretty good in that front. So, but Milwaukee, they haven't been talked about this year. The last couple of seasons, they were the 1 seed. And it was all about Giannis. And now, do you think that now that they're the 4th seed, all of that pressure has been that they're the 3 seed, that their pressure has been kind of taken off them? And they can just kind of, hey, Gian, you don't have to, Giannis choked. All the pressure's on Sixers. All the pressure's on the 2 seed out there. So it's like, what can you do? That's Nets and Sixers right now. But if the Bucks, can they sneak in and take this thing?
I think they can. I mean, Giannis, he's missed a ton of games this season, too, due to injury towards the back half, but he's come back late in the season, and I think they played the Brooklyn Nets twice, actually, and he had 2 really strong games against them. And as long as they got the supporting cast healthy as well, I think this Bucks team can be dangerous because they've been here before. They had this goal in mind of winning a championship over the last 2 or 3 seasons. So this is definitely their time.
So Milwaukee in the East, and in the West, Who's that sneaky team in the West?
Who's that sneaky team? Oh man, that sneaky team is a team in the bubble last season who went undefeated, and that's the Phoenix Suns.
Mm.
Chris Paul. I mean, they've been high all season long. They maintained being a top seed all season. They finished at number 2, but you got to give it up to Chris Paul. His name should be mentioned in those MVP conversations as well. But they're not a really deep team, Darrell, the Phoenix Suns, but they have positions. They have players at positions that you don't really even need that depth because Chris Paul is going to be running the show. Devin Booker is Devin Buckets, and Mikal Bridges, who's been a 3-and-D guy, who's been able to do quite a few things on the court for them. And DeAndre Ayton, you got to give it up to him. He's been solid all season long, and along with Chris Paul, I think Ayton is a key reason why they've been able to be successful this whole season.
I mean, the Suns, and I'll even include the Jazz in this, they might be the quietest 1-2 seeds I've ever seen in the NBA, like in the history. Usually when you hear 1 and 2 seeds, everybody like, oh, shoot, you want to. No one even, it doesn't seem like nobody wants to say, all right, the Jazz are going to win it. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody even meant it. It's so bad. They just say, well, it's either going to be the Lakers, it's either going to be the Clippers. It's somebody that's not them. And if I'm the 1 seeded Jazz or the 2-seeded Suns, I feel disrespected. I would go out there, and the Suns have done that since they missed out on that playoff. They've been hot since the bubble last year. And what a great job by Monty. What a great head coaching job by Monty Williams. I mean, you got to love what they're doing out there in Phoenix.
Yeah, man, they're playing great basketball. They're playing inspired basketball. And Monty Williams, he's had some tough years over the past years. I believe he lost his wife. But he's back in the mix. He's successful. He looks happy. The team, they're winning. They look happy. And I think they're going to go on a strong playoff run. I really do.
I'm intrigued to see if they get this good run going. If Chris Paul can get out that second round, if he can just get out that second round, who knows what can happen? Who knows what can happen? All right, now we're going to swing to the finals prediction. I know not going to make you choose a winner right now, but who do you see going to the finals in your mind?
Finals. This Laker team out west, they've had their ups and downs all season long. Marc Gasol, he's been a bump. I'm not even gonna lie. Let's call a spade when we see a spade. He's a shell of himself. He's older now. LeBron, he's been hurt. Anthony Davis has been hurt. They've been trying to incorporate Montrezl Harrell. He's been in and out of the lineup due to coaching decisions. I think the Lakers are gonna come out of the West, and here's why. They're fully healthy now. Anthony Davis is getting back to being Anthony Davis because he's been kind of so-so this season. But they have the best player in basketball back in the lineup, and that's LeBron James. And I think we'll see a difference like we always do. Regular season LeBron, postseason LeBron. I think the Lakers will be out west.
Yeah. I will say this about the Lakers. I don't know if you remember this. I'm pretty sure you do. But back when Shaq was there, wasn't it like, in your opinion, Shaq always got hurt with like 3 months to go in the season, and then he wouldn't show up until like the month before the season started, and then he would dominate in the playoffs? I felt like every year I was like, dude, this is crazy. Every year Shaq is like, I'm done between June and March. I mean, July and March. I mean, January and March, January and March, I'm not going to play. I'll be back in April for those 2 weeks, get myself prepared, and then I'll be ready. And I'm not saying that this Lakers team is using the same philosophy because everybody's obviously hurt. LeBron, we haven't seen LeBron miss this many games in his whole career. So it's just different to see LeBron not on the floor.
It's load management. I mean, they don't want to say it out loud, but it is what it is. It's load management. I think a commercial about LeBron. LeBron is all of a sudden the world's greatest salsa dancer ever now. You see that commercial?
I was like, if my man can salsa dance, he can get on that floor. And don't give me he made that commercial months ago. That's a lie. Because like I did TV commercials, and I know how long it takes for them to put that. If they want to do it, they can get it done the next day. So I filmed a commercial one day, and then the very next day it was on TV. So I don't want to hear anything. My man is okay. He's okay.
That was pretty good to me.
My man was out there. I said, man, come on, bro. Now, what about the East? What are we looking like in the East?
In the East, it is what it is. You're just going to have to go check feeling. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, they're pretty much trying to buy a championship. It's too much talent on that Brooklyn Nets team for them not to make the finals. And I look at the makeup of the Eastern Conference. The Sixers, they certainly don't have the scores to keep up with the Brooklyn Nets. Ben Simmons don't even want to shoot. Who else is there? The Bucks. They're more of a defensive team. Drew Holiday's known more as a defensive stopper rather than an offensive star. Now he can get you some buckets, but he's not a Devin Booker out there dropping 70 points a game. But the Miami Heat, they probably have the best chance at getting this Brooklyn Nets team because they're pretty deep and they're solid on both sides of the ball. But you got James Harden, you got Kyrie Irving, who in that 50, 40, 90s club now. Kyrie Irving, shout out to him. And you got Kevin Durant. As long as they're healthy,
they're unstoppable. They should be unstoppable when they're healthy. But they haven't been, and they could be doing the same dream because they haven't been healthy and all together in a couple months. Yeah. You know, Harden's been talking about he's coming back, and then you just haven't seen them all together. And, you know, Kyrie, you know, despite all the stuff that Kyrie's went through this year, like you said, has the year that he has, only the eighth player ever to have those statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not a huge Kyrie fan. I will sit here and tell you I'm not a huge Kyrie fan, but I respect talent when you see it. And when you're out there putting up those numbers, I mean, what can you say?
Yeah. The Nets, they got a deep roster. I mean, and the bench plays pretty well for them, too. They got Blake Griffin coming off the bench. I mean, people say he's washed, but he looks pretty solid to me in Brooklyn. The coaching staff in Brooklyn, Mike D'Antoni is on that bench next to Steve Nash, and we know what D'Antoni's been able to do throughout his career. So, I mean, the Brooklyn Nets, they're an offensive juggernaut. Nobody's stopping them in the playoffs.
I think Blake Griffin was just trying to get out of Detroit. Dude, I will play miserable. Just get me out of here. Please get me out of here. Do whatever it takes. Please get me out of here.
It's kind of like, you know, you need a job and you don't want to quit a job because you're not going to be able to get the checks when you lose your job. Lord, it's escaping me right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to be able to get the checks when you lose your job if you just quit. He wants to get fired. He got fired from Detroit, and he's
to get fired. Please get me out of here. Well, Lakers and Nets is what everybody has been pretty much expecting. That's what I kind of want. I want to see it. I mean, it gets to a point where you want to see it. I want to see Kyrie and versus LeBron and AD. You know, I want to see that whole mix, all these superstars. I mean, it should be, if they can make it there, both teams, it should be a great series.
And I will say about the Brooklyn Nets. James Harden, he's been in MVP conversations this season with the Brooklyn Nets. Hasn't even played a full season with them, but he's been able to take this team to a different level. We've seen James Harden in MVP conversations, and he's won MVP over the past years. But when it gets to the postseason, he kind of disappears.
Yes.
But the key thing here, Darrell, and this is why I like this Brooklyn Nets team to possibly win it all, he doesn't have to be the star of the team anymore. He's playing next to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So
right.
A lot of that pressure that he had these past years, it's not even going to be there anymore. So this Brooklyn Nets team, they could run away with this thing just by offense alone.
Man, I bet you this is what Jay-Z envisioned so long ago. And look at him now. Now, before we get out of here today, I got to ask you about the NBA MVP. It's been a pretty interesting race the whole year. We've heard Djokovic. We've had Embiid. We've had Randall's name being tossed out there. Chris Paul's name being tossed. Harden's name has been tossed out there. But I need to know from our NBA expert, who is the league MVP this year?
You know, it hurts me to admit this, but I got to be honest. You know, I'm a Philly guy. I wish Embiid could win MVP. He's been sacrificing his body all season long. He's on the floor every time I see him play. He's scoring all the points in Philadelphia, but he's not the MVP. Now, I am happy to say this. The MVP is a big man, just not Joel Embiid. And MVP is the Joker out west in Denver Nuggets. He's been averaging close to a triple-double all season long, and Joker has to win MVP. The Denver Nuggets, I believe they were in 4th or 5th place before Jamal Murray went down. And he said, oh, man, this Denver Nuggets team, they're going to struggle now that Jamal Murray's not in the lineup. They're in 3rd place now, top 3 in the Western Conference. And along with that, he's still been able to elevate everybody's game, including Michael Porter Jr. Porter Jr. is probably going to explode in this playoffs now. And a big part of that is because of the Joker. He's the MVP.
I mean, I gotta agree with you, man. I've been a huge, Joker fan. For me, if he doesn't win it, I mean, the only person I can see winning it would be Embiid. It's just nice to see a big man win it, because I don't know when the last time a big man, like a true center, won the MVP. It might have been when Shaq was in the league. I mean, that's how long it feels. I mean, I have to go back and check my stats, but it's been a long time since a 7-footer has won the league MVP. So it looks like we got a good chance of that happening with Joker and Embiid. So one of them ought to win it. I mean, but the Joker has just been phenomenal. I mean, he's averaging, if not a triple-double, very close to a triple-double. And he's just had a great season. You just don't see that number from a big man. You just don't see him.
Yeah, and he literally does everything you need him to do. The entire offense is ran through the Joker. He's able to post up, of course. He's a 7-footer. He lost a lot of weight last season as well, and he's came back and transformed to a completely different player. He's passing the ball. He's posting up. He's defending. He's drawing double teams, and he's cutting. And he's a jack of all trades, and he is this year's MVP.
I'm just intrigued to see how my man is going to pull it off, if he gets it or not. In my opinion, he is the MVP. He is the one that probably should, be able to host that trophy. But Denver made one move in the trade deadline or Aaron Gordon move which is such a solid move for them. And then to have him out there, I mean, the Nuggets are going to be once again a team to contend with in this Western Conference. I mean, the playoffs this one's going to be fun. This one's going to be fun.
Yeah, playoffs are going to be fun. And with the addition of Aaron Gordon, that gives them another wing player who is going to be needed to knock off your LA teams, rather it's the Clippers or the Lakers. Lakers, of course, they got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And on the other side, the Clippers, they have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And the addition of Aaron Gordon, as you said, is probably one of the most underrated moves this season.
I love it. I can't wait to see the NBA playoffs start. They start tomorrow. I know that you're excited. Once again, Ty, I'd like to thank you for coming up on the LegacyMaker Sports News Network update show. We appreciate you, brother, for coming on today.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. We will be back for more, y'all, here in the up and coming days, and we'll bring you some more here on the LegacyMaker Sports News Update. I'm Darrell Owens. This is Ty Montgomery. Until next time.